In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. Coming to you live from a studio in Burbank this week. I'm so excited. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. We've been waiting a whole motherfucking year for this film to come out, and there's been so much hype, so much articles written, so much stuff going on in Collider, other outlets, so much happening. And we decided to use that as our topic this week. You already know the topic, and we've got a very special guest that we're going to announce here in just a few minutes. But first, I'm John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
Matt, how are you?
I'm good. Are you all right?
What do you mean?
That was you seemed like you were lost, like in the very opening 10 seconds of that.
Yeah.
And you were focused on another thought in your head, and you're like, let me just get through this intro. We've all been there.
No, it was more a matter of like, I haven't ever started the show this way, so I was just kind of writing it out. And we're at the end of a long day of work for me.
That's what I'm assuming.
So I'm doing my best to steer the ship, man.
It was a question.
Yeah.
There was no judgment.
I know.
Because you normally come in and just like, it's amazing to watch every week. I'm like, dude, this guy's good. Well, that's the nice thing. I think we work so well together because he does what he does very well, and I can do my buffoonery as well as I can do it. But I think between the two of us, it's fantastic. So this one was like, wow, that's very, where's John? Where's John? Where's my buddy?
Am I here now?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
All right, good.
There's a smile. There's a laugh.
That's right.
That's all I wanted.
No, because Star Wars is a very serious subject, and I know people take this shit crazy serious.
Okay.
So I was giving it a little bit of like love at the beginning. I think is what was going on.
But let's temper those thoughts about Star Wars. It's a movie. It's a universe. It is beloved. But at the same time, there are bigger fish to fry in the world. So we're here to have fun.
If you say so. People escape to the movies, so they don't want to deal with the fishing.
I agree that there are people listening right now that are taking the same stance and thinking I'm crazy.
They're like,
it's fine.
Be quiet.
Just when you build it up like that, it's
I'm just saying.
Of historic, although it will be kind of on some level historically significant.
Well, that's why we had to bring a guest on who was going to match that level. So
a level of knowledge that is so impressive to behold in person, honestly.
Yeah.
That I shook his hand once. It was like that was severely impressive.
Just
severely. Well, just how many times would somebody just expose movie knowledge to you and you're like, dear God, that's good.
Yeah.
That is good. That is a skill.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't happen. You see something, you're like, I can't even hang with you with that. So my hat's off to you because there's a clear champion.
Well, before we introduce him, let's say you're listening to us on the SK Plus podcast. And thank you so much for downloading the episode. A lot of great shows on here. Schmo Now Rundown, After Schmo, Don't Be a Beardo, Meaning of, Outlaw Nation, which I apologize to the fans. I've been kind of erratic with Outlaw Nation, but I'm going to get a little bit better.
Sorry,
I
give the
want
people
better
a lot.
episodes for you all than the half-hour drive to work. So sometimes I put myself down. If you guys don't care about that shit, let me know. But one great thing about is we're getting a push from Christian. If you guys like the Top 10 Show, tweet at Christian. Tweet at everyone involved on the SK Plus podcast channel. Tell them how much you love the show.
I personally would appreciate it if you just open that tweet with, listen here, asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
At Christian, just let him know right off the top. This is what I'm here to talk about.
Yeah, there
It's
you
the
go.
best fucking show, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we love it. So there we go. Listen, we've had Jason Inman on the show. We've had Rachel Cushing on the show. We've had Mark Andreyko on the show. We had a great run of guests. And this one, I think, is the one I most look forward to having on the show to talk about Star Wars. He's the host of the Napzok Files. He is a host at Collider, a writer at Collider, a creator.
Yes.
One of the most intelligent people who's ever walked the earth to talk about Star Wars. And I'm very honored to say a personal friend of mine, the venerable, amazing, and wonderful Ken Napzok. Welcome, Ken Napzok.
No, that's that.
We've never applauded for a guest.
That's right.
We have never applauded for a guest.
That's happy to be here. Matt Nost has invited me on the show before in several bathrooms. I
saw you. I was like, you know what?
I don't have a problem with the urinal talk.
Well, there was a partition and you were washing your hands.
That's true.
So we both weren't doing it. And since I initiated, I feel it's less awkward.
Yeah.
You're going to leave the room. It's perfectly fine.
Happy to be here.
If we were right next to each other, yeah, code of silence. I agree.
This is Hollywood. Deals have to happen. I'm good. You guys really got with your word. Star Wars is a passion. It's also, I take it very seriously, but I also take it very light. I think Star Wars deserves both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to mention a host and also panelist on Jedi Council, Collider Jedi Council. You
We do
as
that.
well.
We do that Collider Jedi Council thing, man.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And on the Schmodown as well, you've seen him part of Nerds Watch. You've seen him do his own thing, and we'll see what happens. But this week we decided we wanted to do. Oh no, wait. Let's just talk about it. Ken.
Yeah.
How did this love of Star Wars occur with you in your life? Like, when did you encounter it? When did it become?
Give us a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It's a scary peek. It would be 1982 and 83. Whenever the first trailers for Return of the Jedi popped up. Now I was in a drive-in theater at 1 year of age with my parents, swaddled in a little blanket, watching A New Hope.
Right.
So I didn't know it. It was already in my blood. Something must have been laying dormant and woke up when I was at a friend's slumber party, birthday party, and all my friends were like, "Ooh, it's that Star Wars movie," and I saw the trailer, and I just remember the stuff about it, Luke igniting his green lightsaber, it just connected, and I don't know why.
And as you've gotten older, like, what brings you back to Star Wars? Like, obviously, you're looking at it through different eyes every 10 years, I think, as we all do as human beings. Like, what keeps bringing you back? What keeps bringing the love back for you to Star Wars?
That's a good point to say how your Star Wars fandom kind of matures as you do or something like that. Epic adventure, wanderlust, looking outside of myself or outside of my small town of Arroyo Grande, California, might have been my early connection to.
Where is Arroyo Grande?
About 2.5 hours north of L.A. here.
Got it.
Right? You know where Pismo Beach is?
Yeah.
You know where Desi and Lucy went for their holiday?
You had me at Pismo. No, on the second part. No, I didn't know that.
That's my hometown. Born down here, but raised up there. So connected there. And then I think now it's this sense of the storytelling, the lore, what it means to. It's fun watching it mean stuff to new generations of fans as well, and just watching these characters grow. So Force Awakens, I think, succeeded by introducing wonderful new characters for a new generation of fans. It really did what it was supposed to do. I could accept somewhat. I understand Force Awakens was similar with other plot points to the previous three movies, to the original trilogy.
I was happy about that.
Yeah.
I think you needed it.
Yes, you did. You did. After where the three previous had taken us, you know what? Give us comfort food.
Yeah.
Give us something we've seen and updated new, basically, characters, and then start there and go elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. You needed, your first one out of the box is not going to be Denis Villeneuve doing a new take on Star Wars. It needs to be popcorn.
That sounds good, though, doesn't it?
It does now.
Yeah.
It only sounds good now because we established it with JJ in Force Awakens. Yeah. That's a great point you
That's
make.
kind of where it's grown. But yeah, you're right. It changes. You have to
Yeah.
rethink what you love about this.
And you have gone up against some of the most knowledgeable Star Wars people ever in the Schmodown and multiple competitions.
I'll be defending the title on December 22nd against the winner of this fatal five-way match. It could be Joseph Scrimshaw, my Force Center podcast broadcasting partner.
Yep.
Alex Dabin from Star Wars Explained, Sam Witwer, Shayna, Geek Girl Diva, and then Steele Saunders of Steel Wars podcast. So any one of those five, I'll be challenging the Schmodown in December.
Steele was an interesting person to meet. Steele is like a bulldozer of Australian.
Big personality, yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's a large personality, very gregarious person, and he just steamrolls you with his approach to the world. I really enjoyed getting to know him.
Yeah. All of them are great. All of them are great.
Absolutely. Well, we brought Ken on.
Yes.
Because we wanted to talk about Star Wars and pick a topic. We didn't want to do typical stuff like, top 10 Star Wars movies. Obviously, there's only 9.
You can't do it.
Can't do it. And then we didn't want to go top 10 characters because it was like, well, everyone knows they're the main characters and we could haggle about positioning. But we wanted to do something unique with Ken because he is so knowledgeable Matt and I talked about this, and then we looped Ken in to have a three-way chat about this, and we decided we wanted to do top 10 secondary characters or supporting characters.
Supporting
Star Wars,
characters,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
However you define that.
Above the line, below the line characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went even further than technically below the line.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
oh, we saw those people a lot, or like certain things exclude. For me, it's personal.
Oh, great.
It's utterly personal. So it's just like, this is how I define this list.
Right. I love
And
that.
there's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
Even when you do that, you're like, all right, well, how far down do I want to go? Do I want to go like really obscure?
Yeah.
I looked up some names and I'm like, what was that one guy's name? Because I always loved that guy. Just boom, he's in a frame, he's out of a frame. Just like, I don't care. That guy stuck with this child's imagination and lived on. It's like, who is that?
But that's part of what I think this conversation is more interesting than just the big names, because
Yeah.
Han, Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, Emperor, great, they're all there, and I could have long discussions on each one of those characters. But what you just described is what really also hooked me in as a kid to your first question.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Luke, I love Han, but it was like the Ponda Baba, Dr. Evanson, and the Cantina, and the I love Imperials. I'm a big fan of the Empire, and I love the Biker Scouts and Emperor's Royal Guards. They just look cool.
They do.
That's what gets you.
I love that they brought that motif back for this movie.
The
From
Praetorian
just
Guard,
the
yeah.
red, like we're just gonna go, and it's a shogun,
Yeah.
basically in essence.
Essentially.
Just like that's fantastic. I love everything about
Yeah.
that, and I don't even know what it does yet.
Yeah, and I think each one of us will connect with different characters.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And my list would change if we do the show next week. It would change, and the week after, it would change.
It was funny. You brought it up earlier. So, Last Hope or First Hope was, or New Hope, rather.
Hope, yeah.
Jesus was the first one you saw in the theater.
Yeah,
My dad told me this. I don't know, like 2 months ago. So he took me to Empire when I was 2 or something
Yeah.
like that, and I just sat on his lap. And I don't know if I got so scared or if I just loved and I didn't want to move.
Yeah.
But I apparently just peed my pants and just
What?
got
You were
his.
watching it?
Yeah, his crotch got all wet, so that he had to get up. He stayed tolerated for as long as he could.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I saw Jedi in the theater, but apparently I saw Empire. I was like,
Empire.
I did not know that. That's a great story.
Yep.
That's what you get for taking a 2-year-old.
My sister was about 3 during Jedi, and when Yoda died, we had to take her out, and she was screaming like Yodi, 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 yo, and like just kept
It was too much.
too much for her.
Wow, wow.
I stayed, but
All right, well,
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Yeah, once we set a topic, we all go our individual ways and we show back up here. The way it works with a 3-man weave is I'll do my bottom 5. John will do his bottom 5. Then Ken will do his bottom 5. Then I'll do my next 2, next 2, next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the 3 of us.
Boom.
And then what we didn't talk to you about off.
off air, yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
If you got something in your bottom 5 and I bring it up and he brings it up, then we'll talk about it when whoever brings it up. Otherwise, just tell me to hold it if it's in your top 5.
Gotcha.
It'll be what they call a punt.
Punt, yeah. Just tell me to punt it. We're punting that discussion for higher up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, so Matt, you start us off. Is that how this works?
I think roughly 300 characters to choose from.
yes. Yes.
So basically, it's pick your poison.
Yeah.
Who do you want? So at number 10, this was kind of the hardest one because I'm leaving everybody else off. I don't know how to pronounce it, actually. I always pronounce it as Lobot from Empire.
That's correct. Yeah.
Lobot's right.
Lobot?
Go with Lobot, yeah.
That was, when I saw that as a kid, I was like, that is the coolest character. He has just a computer built in instead of basically the horseshoe hair pattern of a balding man.
Yes.
He may have had that when he was younger. He's just replaced it with that on the sides, and he's just hooked in to a cloud city. You know what I mean? He's like the walking mainframe.
He is.
He can do anything he wants to. It's like, I love everything about this character. This is great. He doesn't do shit either.
Cybernetic lobotomy, and
Yeah.
that's a Lobot's correct.
Yeah, that's the best part of having you here. Give me a backstory. What don't I know about Lobot?
Well, we're learning a lot about him actually in the new Lando comic, which is a 5-issue run, came out a year or so ago from Marvel. He's in it.
Okay.
Obviously.
Has to be.
Has to be. But he is fully functional. He has the implants, but he's fully functional talking. He and Lando are buds. And there's a story to what happens. But it's the first time we've learned about Lobot and his puffy little sleeves.
Yeah, just everything. As soon as I saw that character, I was like, this is the best.
Yeah.
I could have chosen anyone. Like I wanted that 3-eyed thing from Jedi. Whatever, something like that. As soon as I saw that as a kid, he pops in. That's the one I'm thinking. It pops in and pops out, and I've never forgotten him.
Yeah.
It's such a weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
So I knew that the bottom of this. Who knows if we're gonna have any or much commonality? But anyway, number 9 for me is Bib Fortuna.
Great.
Oh, nice choice.
Great.
Nobody.
You like the assistants of Star Wars.
Yeah.
The guys
Well, I was
who are
thinking like supporting, and then okay, well, a lot of supporting they only come in one movie. So what do I want?
right.
If there's a million characters, we can choose the guys that had the bigger parts, which I have some of those, and that have smaller parts. But it was the supporting that always stuck with me. And as soon as he slithers into the first frame, when I'm watching, this is my first like true memories of Star Wars. I'd seen the I think maybe no, I don't even see. Anyway. Yeah. Seeing that on the screen, and then afterwards, me and my friends talking about it, and he seemed so slimy and wet, and then fit this tentacled-like persona, and he was like, you could tell he just had clammy everything.
Yeah.
Everything that was clammy, and like now as an adult looking back, like that is the type of sycophant that gets to the top, this non-threatening, I'll do whatever you want, sire, until you get taken down, and now it's long live whoever just took power, because you're just a fucking, slimy son of a bitch. And I loved it. And the name Fortuna. Just fortunate on his own.
Yeah.
Everything about that character I
He
love.
reminds me of Grima Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah,
Nice.
He's a good major domo, sweaty, pale. Mm-hmm. Dewonawanga, like good character. Good character. And he has a cousin in Rogue One.
Who?
Beezer Fortuna is part of Saw Gerrera's partisans. And he
I did not even notice. I gotta go back.
As Bib's cousin. One went this way, the other went that way. Families, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. How did Bib come to? Was he taken by Jabba, or did he willingly go with Jabba? And like, I'm not aware of the story with Bib.
I don't know
100%.
the new card story, because there's the Tales from Jabba's Palace book and everything that's no longer
yes.
canon. So sometimes that stuff gets confused. The nice thing is, John, we still have the opportunity to find out.
That's right.
Good spin.
Boom.
Good spin.
All right, what's your next one, man?
Number 8 for me is Grand Moff Tarkin.
Ooh,
Excellent choice.
all right, nice choice.
Nobody.
No.
On the bottom 3, nobody.
Yeah.
I like Tarkin to pieces, but I to me he still seemed like something. I don't know. I just play with my list a lot, so Tarkin.
Well,
made
the fact
cut.
that
Tarkin
they
almost made the cut because of Rogue One stuff.
Yeah, you bring him back in with Rogue One, so you see more of him. But in that first movie, you have the Emperor and you have Darth, and here's this normal person that has attained a level where Darth has to be respectful.
Yeah.
He can't just storm right through him. So because of that, he's always held my imagination, but my respect as well, because the most feared 2 individuals on one side all grant him the same level, roughly.
Yeah.
Roughly, all things considered.
The Emperor, Vader, I should say, was considered the Emperor's lapdog by the Imperial officers. That's why in the first movie, Modi and Tag are kind of arguing with him, especially Modi's the one that chokes him. They're arguing with Vader.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever, crazy dude.
Yeah.
We're in the army here. We're in the Navy. We don't worry about it. And you're right, Tarkin, it's something you forget. Tarkin's above Vader.
They're doing that because at the same time, like Han Solo doesn't believe in the Force, and he's one of the last, individuals that anybody's seen.
Yeah.
So they're dismissive of it entirely. Like, yeah, whatever, you can do that. Like
sorcerer's ways. Lord.
exactly. I'm not fearful of this at all. Just so dismissive. Whereas with Tarkin, I don't know, man. That actor brought to life menace in a way. I mean, with those cheekbones alone, he just looks like a skeletal form with skin just draped over him.
Yeah.
Just dead. He's dead on the inside, and it just exudes through. Plus the pale lighting. I'm sure they gave him some makeup to make him look a little bit more
I think
pale.
Peter Cushing was pretty pale, just as
In general.
He's a British guy,
he wore
so yeah.
slippers most of the time he was shooting that movie. So.
Oh wow.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Of course he
yeah.
did.
Just out of frame.
Yeah, out of frame. Yeah, and so there was a cosplayer I saw at Comic-Con a couple years ago. Had a Tarkin outfit, Tarkin face, and he had slippers on. I was like,
That's great. That's good attention.
The points right there.
Yeah, that's good attention to detail.
I love that.
I think I might even respect him more because anybody that can show up in slippers and everybody's still like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine if he put on his real shoes?
Right.
Put on a hard shoe. Oh, fuck, we're all dead.
Well, that's a veteran actor too, showing up in his slippers. He's like, I've done this for 30, 40
You're
years.
shooting me from here
I don't
up.
need to be. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a space movie.
It's like those newscasters wear shorts. And they wear the whole suit,
Yeah.
but they wear shorts on the desk because they know that the camera's not going to be on them. Yeah.
Can't tell.
Yeah. All right, what's the next one?
My number 7 is Admiral Akbar.
Oh,
I got that. I could punt. Did I punt?
If you have it at 5 or higher, yes.
Okay, we got to punt.
We're
that.
punting
punt?
then.
All right,
We're
Like
punting.
Reggie Roby, Miami Dolphins,
Yeah.
late '80s. Boom, punt.
yeah, yep.
6 for me, K2SO.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
Good.
You could. That's my number.
It's good.
8. So
Okay.
it's not a punt.
And you
right?
don't have?
Don't have.
Good.
So we
Let's
can talk about it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the best part of that movie, which is impressive.
Interesting.
Well,
Wow, strong statement.
Because of what they allowed, basically the route they allowed the character to take.
Yeah.
every scene he practically steals when he comes in, and it's effortless. It is
Yeah.
absolutely effortless. It's through Tudyk's just the way he brings the character to life with his voice, but at the same time, just like the choice of the script and everything like that, and the specific story details. Like, especially when like the other one gets shot right in front of him, the same kind of droid, and he was like, "You knew that was right." Like, yeah, of course.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, or they go to like hold the bag, and as soon as they get out of frame, he just drops it. Yeah, just like, I'm not your servant.
Yeah.
It's great that they gave him that much like human like will and personality.
Yeah.
Well, especially because we had R2D2, we'd had C3PO, we'd had BB-8, so we'd had these more like playful droids,
But
that
subservient.
were subservient, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And IG-88's never really like had an actual,
No.
storyline in a movie. So until that happens, you've got to have these other droids that kind of lay the groundwork for getting to that point. And KTSO does kind of do that because he's a reprogrammed droid. So his tendency is to kill and destroy and whatever because that's what you're programmed to do. But you turned him in a certain way, so he's on your side, and but the harshness of him doesn't go away. So I like, and it gives a nice color to the movie to have him go back and forth with the heroine of the movie. In a way that Diego Luna characters doesn't do with her. It's like they go back and forth, but for different reasons. K2SO just it's almost jealousy and it's almost like frustration that someone else is coming and take the spot where he's at.
Yeah. Oh, she gets the gun.
Yeah,
she
right,
gets to have a gun, and I don't get one.
Yeah.
Like, what
It's
is
like a
this?
sibling rivalry
But that's
almost.
His death, then, I think, was on some level, me as a viewer, was the most deserved because it was almost the most selfless.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, he technically was making a choice to be even though he's ordered, but he was disobeying orders at other times, just not when it was detrimental to helping them. And when she gives him the gun, and it's just like, oh. At that moment, you're like, wow, you knew they were going to kill everybody because they had to.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I felt for that character.
I did. I think I am a fan of Rogue One, to be clear. I love most of Rogue One. I think where it falls is some of the character development, and that is not felt with K2SO. He is allowed to be almost the most Star Wars character in that movie, only because we haven't seen the darkness. I mean, there's dark things in Star Wars, but you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a drab movie. It is a drab movie. But
Yeah.
he stands out because he's so funny, and it's not cheap. It's not cheesy.
No. Right.
It is character-based comedy. The whole, like, do you want to know the chances of her using that gun again?
Yeah.
High. It's very high. He moves his hands up. And then when he dies, the first time I saw it, I thought, they're going to do this. They're going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And it was perhaps the most emotional death in the movie.
It was for me. It was just watching because he's holding them off and he's taking shot after shot, and he knows, okay, now I have to. As soon as I lock them in, I know I'm dead.
Yeah.
I know I'm dead. That's my last resort. And you're like, wow, he just gave of himself as they're all doing, but it just in such a demonstrable way that it rang true,
Well, that's what I argue. He's the most human droid we've had yet.
without a doubt.
The emotions and everything, like what you said, Ken.
Communication, yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Physical
complex
movements
individual.
Even. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. All right, that's your number 7?
That was my 6.
Oh, 6. All right. So it's up to me now, number 10?
Go.
All right.
It's up to you.
So then my number 10 is the great and venerable Salacious B. Crumb.
Sally B.
Sally B.
Okay.
I had to put him in there because when you're a young kid watching Jedi for the first time, and the Ewoks don't really speak to you,
Yeah.
the cackling little thing next to Jabba really speaks to you. And what a great name as well,
Yeah,
Salacious B. Crumb. It's like a lawyer. It's just
he's
so
got a middle
brilliant.
name.
He's got a
Yeah.
middle name. He's like the accountant there.
He comes from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
The
there's
Kowakian
so-
space lizard.
They're always
space
okay.
monkey. Excuse
Okay,
me.
space
Kowakian
monkey.
space monkey.
Right on.
Yeah.
But all his like it's something out of like the old school 50s or 60s TV show where you have the sidekick and the sidekick's like, ha ha, the Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
He's almost like the evil Ed McMahon to Jabba's talk show host. And I love what he's able to do. And it's so funny. And even when shit's going down, he's got that kind of reaction that is hilarious as it's all going down. And yeah, I know he's a Muppet and you get that kind of vibe, but I thought the characterization of him by the puppeteers was fantastic, and that voice, whoever did the voice, I don't know if it's Frank Oz.
The
or
voice
whoever did
sells
the voice, was fantastic. Just the cackling the whole time. It's
great.
So I really enjoyed him.
It's memorable.
Yeah, very memorable.
Very
And that beak and everything. Yeah, it's got it
absolutely.
in.
It's a puppet, but you buy into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still now think he's a real character.
I think he was adopted by Statler and Waldorf after that film.
It reminded me of the rats and the Muppets. If they were more realistic.
Yes.
It's just they like had a nastier bent, but it's just like they come in, they have the jokes, and you kind of like them for some reason, even though you shouldn't.
Yeah. Those little moments.
All right, so then my number 9 is Niennup. Calrissian's second-hand man in the battle there in Jedi, and just something about the look of the character is what stands out for me, which is what made it get to number. And we saw him again in Rogue One, or we saw. I think that's the numbers that.
No,
is that
Nine numbers in
species?
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. I'm sorry, Force Awakens.
But he's
I'm
a
the Force Awakens.
Celestian, so yes, you do see other Celestians.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes,
so
yeah,
so
yeah.
you see him in there, and so I was so happy when he popped up
Yeah.
because they would cut to him, and he is comic relief in a way, but he's also handling his business on the
Yeah.
spaceship. Like he knows what he's doing. He's there. He's a good secondhand man, and I like that because sometimes with Star Wars you don't need to do a lot in a lot of screen time. You have sometimes
Mm-hmm.
limited screen time, and if you could be memorable, especially with a name like Mienna, which is so
Yeah.
incredibly difficult to pronounce. It stays with you. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's a character, whenever he pops up, I always get like a kind of a smile on my face because I just enjoy seeing him. He doesn't have to say much.
Yeah.
He does the laugh and stuff to Lando.
Yeah.
He does all these kinds of cues.
Yeah.
But those are the kinds of cues that make you feel like this is a guy you'd want to be in a cockpit with in a battle against
Yeah.
the Empire. So
Yeah.
I love that about him.
He's on my list, but not in the top 5. So
Oh, okay.
I couldn't punt per rules.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Correct.
he's I'll talk about a little here.
Yeah, talk about it.
He's fantastic. He's important in new canon. They're having fun expanding his character to where
Good.
he helped Princess Leia steal the space shuttle, the space shuttle, the Imperial shuttle that they used to get to Endor.
Right.
And the fact that he came back for Force Awakens shows he has some importance. And for me personally, you talk about what he looks like. When I had my stand-up comedy career, which wasn't a career, I had a joke about Nine Numb what he looks like, and it stayed in my act literally the entire time. Almost never took it out of a set.
Wow.
So I have him in my office right now. That figure's hanging just because
Right.
it was the only joke that ever worked.
Is that how you say it then? I'm saying
Nine Numb is the official canon.
Nine
I
Numb,
actually
okay.
said Neen Numb my entire
Yeah.
life. It only recently on a video game was it
Wow.
9 because it came from the number 9. It was a character design. It was like that. We like the 9th one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, there
he's
you go.
a wonderful
Yeah.
character.
That's you learning so much. Just like, okay, and it comes from this.
Yeah.
And it's just like here's the
Yeah.
the backstory of this character within the fictional world, and then here's how we got to that in the real world. It's like, oh, that's great. It's every piece of the puzzle.
That's why you have Ken on the show.
Yeah.
Ken
And
knows all
laugh.
these.
What number was that for you? Just
He was number 6 for me.
Okay.
Number
All
6 for me.
what do you get next?
My number 7 is, I think we're punting because it's Admiral Akbar.
We are punting.
Okay, because number 8 was KTSO. We already talked about
Yep.
that.
Right.
So then my number 6, and this is kind of a cheat, but he's still kind of below the line because he's not in a lot, is Lando Calrissian. This is my only cheat. In it. Does anybody put
I'm
Lando?
calling that a punt.
Oh,
it's not even
there
a
we
cheat
go.
for me.
It's not a cheat. It's
That is a punt.
All right, fine.
That is
Fair.
a punt. He is right at the line of where
Yeah.
I've got others.
I had a
You know
hard
what I
time-
mean? I got Lobot for Christ's
Yeah,
sakes.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
I kept him low enough where it was necessary.
Don't you judge me on
No,
my
no,
list
I'm
and my
saying I
placement of
kept him low
3.
enough.
You
No.
just said, well, I kept him low
It's for
enough.
my list. For my list.
That's fine.
All right, Ken. What's
All
your
right.
number 10, Mark?
All right, so here we go. So I said my list would change week to week. So
Yeah.
when I sat down to make this list for you guys, I was like, what's on my mind? What's fueling my mind about Star Wars? There's, like Matt said, a ton of characters to choose from.
Too many.
And you could go for a person in the background, the Tanika sisters at their bangs in the cantina bar smoking out. You could go whatever you want. But I went with second tier characters that affected the fate of the galaxy.
Oh, nice.
That had something to do with this. That therefore, I think they have a special place in my heart as a fan.
Okay.
All right, so number 10 is Dexter Jetster. I'm kidding. Jester was the one who ran the diner and Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah. Kept pulling his
Yes.
pants
Yeah,
up
pulling
with
his
that
pants
extra.
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would think the Jedi would know the difference between knowledge and wisdom. It's just a great character. No, my number 10 is, though, from the prequels. As you know, I am a prequelist.
Yes.
It is Count Dooku.
Okay.
All right.
Great choice.
Count Dooku. The reason is not only is he's one of the things Lucas was trying to do with the prequels is says don't trust large organizations, even the ones that you worship or look up to. Be careful of that.
Yeah.
Lucas is not in the DGA. He's had problems. He is a maverick, even though he became a big studio himself. You know what I mean? And Dooku was a little bit of that. Dooku left the Jedi Order. Mm-hmm. It was one of the 20 that left. And then he is part of the Emperor's or Sidious's plan, but he goes and recruits separatists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what ends up happening? The separatists become what many would consider the precursor to the Rebel Alliance.
Yes.
They're against. In fact, Diego Luna's character, Cassian Andor, has a problem with Jedi in Rogue One. Do you know why he has that problem? He was raised as a separatist.
There you go.
He views Jedi as bad people. They killed his family. They led armies against he and his family and his side. So Dooku is, some people, it's not true, but some people say he's kind of the father of the rebellion in a weird way.
Yeah.
He went against a lot of the norms. And I sometimes think in Attack of the Clones, when he's telling Obi-Wan, who's captured, join me and we'll defeat the Sith. I almost wonder if there's a part of Dooku that thinks they could have accomplished that. I think he was in league with Sidious. That's a deep cut, sweaty conversation to have. But I think there is a legacy to his character.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great choice.
My number 10. My number 9.
And played by the great Christopher Lee.
And who, by the way, during his final chapters of his career, plays two of the biggest villains at the time, and one of the all-time biggest villains in Saruman.
The best is the story from the set of Lord of the Rings, when Peter Jackson is trying to tell him what a man sounds like when they get stabbed.
Yeah.
And because he was in the Secret Service in MI5 or whatever the case is, he was basically like, trust me, I know exactly what a person sounds like when you stab them in the back.
I got
and you're like, oh my God.
got this.
That's fucking true. That is true. And I don't know how many, maybe he's heard a few different versions, so he knows exactly what's coming his way.
From this angle.
Yeah. And you're like, wow.
Walked away slowly.
That guy, trust me, that guy plays a mean villain.
My number 9, I wanted to represent Rogue One. I actually do love Saw Gerrera. I love a lot of characters in it, but I went with Bodhi Rook.
Okay. The
Rizza
pilot,
is
yes.
the pilot. I like Bodhi Rook because what the rebellion needed is the common folk. They don't. We have our heroes. We have Luke, Han, Leia. Leia's of royalty. These are people chosen to their destiny. We need people who choose on their own from a place that's small or minor to do something big. He is a pilot of the Empire who joined for a job. He didn't join because he believed in what they were doing. It's a job. I'm going to deliver for the Empire. He's a delivery pilot. He's He's a UPS guy for the Empire, basically. And he gets moved by what Galen Erso tells him and makes his decision to defect and take that risk. And then he the novel of Rogue One, and I hate to be the novel is better than... Obviously, you're going to have a little more chance for depth.
Yeah.
But they talk about in those final seconds, he thinks about his family, he thinks about his kids. And when that stormtrooper throws that charge in, he is dying for them, for their better. And I think that's a powerful thing. That's what rebellions and resistances need, is the common man rising up.
Yeah.
Making that choice.
And Riz Ahmed, of course, made his name with a 1-2 punch of Night of.
Yeah.
And Nightcrawler. Like, those two back-to-back really announced him and then put him into Rogue One, and he's set. Like, this guy is going to be working for quite some time.
He's a good actor.
He's supposed to be in Venom.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be, that's a rumor that he's going to be in Venom. So, yeah, and I like what he does with the pilot, because the pilot... Every single one of these characters in Rogue One had to be distinct, and we've all seen ensemble movies, Magnificent Seven, The Great Escape. They all have to have their own kind of personality. And you might be right, Ken. Maybe the character development wasn't on point because they went and did some reshoots, and maybe some of that got lost in the transfer. So these actors, you had to cast the right actors that could still make it work. And Riz Ahmed is someone that you absolutely understand. Just the nervous nature of him all.
Yeah.
The repeating.
After his
things
brain
over
got
and-
scrambled.
Yeah, exactly. All of them.
And I love that's a great choice, because if you've seen his audition tape, he has different versions of the character. He showed you auditioning. And I love that they chose the brain scrambled version, but also nervous. He's not well spoken.
Yeah.
It was a great choice.
He thought this was going to be an easy task. He's like, I know Jalen Erso. I'm here for Saw Gerrera. Like, why is this even a problem? Why am I having to go through these hoops?
I'm a good guy. What?
Yeah, exactly. Not understanding what Saw Gerrera has been going through for 30, 40, 50 years. Like, you're a good guy. Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. That was your number...
What was my number 9?
Okay.
My number 8 is Maz Kanata.
Ooh.
Lupita Nyong'o's Force Awakens and Last Jedi character, maybe hopefully beyond. There will be tiny parts. I love this character. It's one of the just fun things about the Force Awakens. Yeah, is she a new version of Yoda? Well, not really. Not really. She's tiny and funny looking.
Yeah.
All right?
That's exactly. And she spouts wisdom.
Yeah, and she's aware of the
But
Force.
you give that
know?
to age.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's lived more than one lifetime, like kind of
Exactly.
thing. You're like, you kind of listen to someone like that.
There's fun stuff there. There's a story there. The fact that she's like, Han's like, how'd you get Luke's lightsaber? Yeah, that's a story for another time. Don't worry about it. Kid. You tell Chewie he said hello. And then she is a teacher in some ways to Rey.
Yeah.
Why that? We're going to find out those answers, why that lightsaber is calling to Rey, all that kind of stuff. But I love that moment with her of like, use the Force, and using the Force. This goes to the question of why was Rey so powerful? It's one of the smaller answers for that question. Is Maz Kanata reminds you use the Force and it will at times control your very actions.
Yeah.
So when Rey fights back against Kylo and kind of wins, she remembers, oh, Maz told me use the Force, and the Force will even kind of control what you're doing. Remember when Luke blowing up the Death Star? That's what happened. And so I think that's important. That's an important lesson for Maz to give to Rey, and that's why I think, among a lot of reasons, other than she's just Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, I love her.
Well, like I said, when you have a limited amount of screen time,
Yeah.
you got to do some great work. And Lupita did fantastic work with this. Like, so much so that you forget this is a woman barely in her 30s, if that.
I don't.
As an
Yeah,
actress.
is she?
I don't even know if
Is
she
she?
is.
There we go.
I don't think she is.
She's in it, like
Yeah.
she's in her 20s.
Yeah.
Even more so, it's amazing to see how she plays a very lived-in, older person who has seen it all in the galaxy. Like, I think one of the most tender moments is when she's walking up to Rey after Rey's had the experience of listening to the voices, touch the lightsaber, and she says to him, "Who you're looking for isn't coming back for you."
Yeah.
Like, she's trying to get, like, because she knows she's been there, right? We've all had those things when we were younger. We find someone who's older and they tell you, "Look, I know you think it's going to work this way, but this isn't how it's going to work." You know, we see that echoing now in the trailers for Last Jedi when Luke's like, "This is not going to go the way you think it will." You know, all that kind of stuff. So you see that with her, and there's a sweetness and a hardness to her, and we know this. Like, we've all had experience with women like this.
Oh.
And so it was just fantastic.
When she goes after Finn's face.
Yeah.
I grew up in an Italian city when I lived in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So there's all these older Italians. Sometimes they just grab you and kind of look at you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and then, yeah. I was like, man, I've experienced that.
Yeah.
There's like an older woman just like, shut up. Let me do it. You have no idea. You're a kid. You're like, okay, and you just kind of take it.
You're right.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's a great character.
I love that she basically told Finn, "Yeah, you're a chicken.
Yeah. You're running. Go ahead and run then.
You're a chicken." My number 7. All right, so I have an obsession with Imperial officers.
Yeah. This is well documented.
As you can hear, all
Yes.
right? Now, my all-time favorite one is Moff Tion Gerard, who ran the second Death Star.
Wow.
But he's not on this list. And the reason is he was, in terms of screen time and even the general Star Wars story, we don't know a lot about him. And the guy was behind schedule on building. And so I like that character for some stuff in the Return of the Jedi novel as I read as a kid. But my number 7, though, keeping with that vein, is Admiral Firmus Piet. And Admiral Piet is famously the one promoted when Admiral also was choked.
Okay.
And
he gets immediately promoted.
Immediately.
To Admiral. That's the best part is you realize he had a different moniker not 10 seconds before, and then he goes, Admiral Piet. And congrats on your promotion.
Yeah, and just the way I love the actor is, I believe his name was Kenneth Cooley, I believe his name was Ed. The look off screen when he's just like, clean this up. Like, it's like, we got work to do, but like nervous.
Of course.
And I think if you want to get total nerdy about it, like when the Battle of Endor, it's already kind of a lost cause for the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's on the Executor, the Superstar Destroyer, and when they take it down, and Piet is gone, the Imperial Navy and Army loses their edge.
Yeah.
And because the Emperor's not controlling their day to day or minute by minute at that war, he's their leader. So I love this idea that he did a good job.
Yeah.
He didn't get choked. Vader was choking people left and right. You don't even see, there's in one of the new Vader comics, it's Vader right after Revenge of the Sith, and the Emperor literally tells him, "I need you to stop choking people. I'm not going to have people to boss around."
Right.
Like, I'm paraphrasing, but like literally, like Vader,
It's
knock
true.
it off.
It's true.
Knock it off.
It's tough to find a good, man.
Exactly.
And you're killing some of my best.
So Piet promoted on the fly, adapts right away.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Clean up this mess. We've got to find it.
Exactly. The new job starts.
It survives, and when he dies, the Emperor and the Empire, I should say, it's affected. They're affected by his death. My number 6 was Nine Numb as well. So same reasons we talked about it, but good character.
Cool. All right. What's your number 5, Matt?
5. I might get scoffs for this one. Mace Windu.
Oh no!
Too big. Well, I'm saying too big a part.
No.
To be a supporter.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, look, the reason I
son of
take
a
Mace, the reason I take Mace here, and especially at number 5, is because I've always loved the potential of the character, and it has more potential than any other character. And for that reason, I've always been like, man, they could spin this off at any point,
Which they have
and I
done
cannot wait.
In the Clone Wars and in the
The Tartakovsky stuff.
Yes,
he's
yes.
got
It's
is
really
really
good.
interesting. Yeah,
Yep.
that and Grievous. I think Grievous is his best in the Tartakovsky
Tartakovsky
stuff.
stuff. You're right.
So if that's had they translated that guy would be making my list. because it'd just be like, oh my God, so much menace when he's up like on the ceilings just with claw feet.
Grievous is my biggest disappointment in Star Wars.
Yes.
Because he could have been something.
When you saw that, I saw that before the next movie came out, and I was like, oh, that's just a primer.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see what they do with it. And you're like, oh, they made him a wheezing, emphysema-ridden or tuberculosis.
Yes.
Something is bad. He's got the
Well,
consumption.
funny, but you know what? In the book, it no longer counts. Labyrinth of Evil, right before it takes place, right up to the moments before Sith. It's a non-canon book now. Mace Windu hurts him,
Oh, yeah?
and that's why he's coughing.
Nice.
But now that answer doesn't count. But so to your point, and I think Mace for the Samuel L. Jackson's a star.
Yes.
But for the story, Mace is secondary. Yeah.
But also, I think his usage. Like, I could see people saying he wasn't even that good in these, and be like, right. But at the same time, every scene that he popped into, I believed this could be an amazing scene. And I still think that's possible. You could spin that off. Yeah. Hopefully, they give something with Sam Jackson.
There's a 5-issue comic that's going on that's exploring a lot about his character.
Yeah.
It's actually not my favorite, but there's some great stuff in it. But yeah, Sam Jackson wants to come back. Do it.
Yeah.
I know. And that's why I was at 5. It's like, I've always wanted to see more. Every time he pops on, I believe, even now, even though I've seen the movies, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, maybe in this cut, something different happens.
It is also interesting because if you go back and really watch those prequels, Mace Windu along the way, you could keep a running score of how many times he's actually right. Where he's like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know about this kid.
Yeah.
I think we need to go kill the Emperor. All right, if you're right. Like, there's like 10 of them where you're like, they just listen to Mace.
The ballet backhanded head chop off and just keeps running. It's just like, yeah, that dude's a bad guy. Yeah. Why? Let's give him something, guys. If he can fight this well in this chaos, imagine spinning him his own action movie. This would be awesome.
And Sam Jackson's just such a powerful character. The character of Mace Windy is in the early drafts of Lucas's pre-New Hope scripts. But the fact that Sam Jackson was like, I like Star Wars. And George was like, you're in it. Then he was like, I want a purple lightsaber. They're like, yep, you got it.
Yep.
It's
awesome.
He's the only one that's ever going to walk into this property and tell George what he wants. Like, no one else was able to do that. But Sam,
that's the power.
Scared the shit out of George.
Yeah.
I told him what to
George
do.
was like, I'm making another one. I love Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
Why not have Sam Jackson? You want to do it? Let's do it.
Bitch, you give me a purple lightsaber.
It's a good choice. Mace is good.
All right.
That was my 5. 4, Jabba.
Okay.
I don't know the rule. That's my number 4 as
That's
well.
my number 4.
Perfect timing.
Boom.
All 4 at the same time. That rarely happens.
Nice. Wow.
That rarely happens, especially this high.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The menace alone, just from that.
Yeah.
He is so memorable. He is so loved. There's a lot of Jabba fans, and he's a bad guy. He's vile, and the Hutts affect the galaxy. The Empire and the rebels are like, ooh, we don't want to piss off the Hutts. Jabba's not I don't think technically the leader of the Hutts, but for fandom, he is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a mafia syndicate, and that syndicate has this conglomeration of planets. They have their own. Basically, they can't move in on their territory because they're the empire of their worlds. Yeah. So you're gonna have to cut deals. You're gonna have to. It's such a great setup for an entire character world. Like the entire experience there is amazing.
That's why I want Guillermo del Toro to get his Jabba the Hutt gangster movie. I actually want it.
When he was here, he said that he had an idea to do a Godfather movie, Jabba the Hutt, like prequel Jabba the Hutt, like talk about like how he ascended to power. And I nerdgasmed all over myself because just the idea of him doing that and dropping it casually in an interview with Perry, and then your mind starts to go like, my God, what he could create. He'd be the perfect person to do it with. Yeah. And because he'd have the right darkness and also the right levity at the same time that makes Jabba such a lovable character. As you said, Ken, he's a vile son of a bitch, but there's something about his personality that you absolutely enjoy and love, and you want to see more of it. And some of my favorite stories in all different types of media, whether it's comic book to books or the animated series or even Clone Wars or whatever, or even the Lego series, is when they're dealing with the Hutts. Yeah. Even that the Freemakers Adventures, they have a Hutt in there, and it's voiced by the guy who does Shake on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Yeah. So it's like, to me, whenever the Hutts are involved, it's an extra level of attention that I pay to whatever I'm watching.
They're fascinating. When all the Hutts, there's Nema the Hutt is the one on Jakku. That's why Rey is at Nema Outpost.
Right.
All stuff. But Jabba, I have the Black Series Jabba figure on display at my house, and people love Jabba. Jennifer Landa, my Force Center co-host, she's made her own Jabba pillows. Like, people love Jabba, and you shouldn't. But there's something, he's a cult of personality.
Yeah, but the thing is devious as his motivations are, they're pure.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, Matt.
You know know exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
It's never duplicitous. It is this. I'm open-faced about it, and I'll do whatever I have to get that.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, if you're going to be collateral damage on the way to that, trust me, you knew that long before we interacted.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got yourself in this mess.
And the only reason he's doing what he's doing on Jedi is because Han hasn't paid him.
Yeah.
Han has been
He wants his money.
robbing him.
And
the
you're
whole
one
time.
person now threatening him in
Yeah.
the seat of his power. Just like, I don't care about you.
Yeah, so if we're looking at it logically from the outside and we don't have this love for Han, like we're like, no, this is a businessman who made a deal with you and you tried and you
that's the
should
thing.
jerk him.
How does a massive steroided out, like slug-like creature become this feared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Become this feared? An entire family of them. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that, the origin story. Like, how the hell did you guys get this?
Right.
Who did you kill to take their power
Right. Yeah.
and grow that power thereafter? Like, I love the idea of that series. What was the they're trying to bring back that or create a crime drama about the lower echelons of
Star Wars
Coruscant?
Underworld, that was
Yeah.
allegedly.
That to me, you could have the hut, like the Huts come in, they run the underbelly.
That almost would what I'd want that Del Toro movie to be. I don't need to.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, we need a Jabba origin story. No, the Star Wars Underworld and the Huts ruled it. Jabba rules
Yeah,
it.
It's perfect.
You don't need to know the backstory. Like,
Yeah.
you just give me a new story with that character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was your number 4.
That was my 4. So what do you got at 5?
So my number 5 is Wedge Antilles.
That's my number 5 too.
Okay.
Boom! Is on your list?
Not on my list.
I can't tell you the love I have for Wedge.
Which is great.
Because I've always been a fan of I think a lot of people are fans of the underdog, but there's something about Wedge, when you watch movies long enough, you go, yep, that's cannon fodder, that person's going to... Porkins, you knew Porkins. There was just a ticking time clock on Porkins till he
Listen
died.
to his name.
Yeah, exactly.
He was not for long in this world, you know?
And just like Force Awakens, that one creature that's one of the X-Wing fighters that dies near the end, you knew he was going to die.
Elo Atzis.
Elo Atzis. He was like, oh, coming on to the right. I'm like, you're dead. You're going to die. And sure enough, he dies. But Wedge somehow was able to survive all these different battles.
Yeah.
He almost has like a cult-like status that
He
he showed
does.
up. He shows up in Star Wars Rebels as a younger man. He's all through the comics. Like they used him in what was the one where they're on two different the novel that came out recently where they're on two different places and Wedge is part of it.
He's in Aftermath.
Aftermath, that's it. Wedge is in Aftermath.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot about Wedge that people love and enjoy. And the fact that actor did not want to come back and do
like
Force Awakens. That's
no.
ballsy.
I'm bored with that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, don't. Hey, look.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I left that. He saw what Ford was going through, and it's like, I didn't want that. You know?
Yeah. just the whole, and that just adds to the lore
Yeah,
of Wedge Antilles. So, Ken, please.
Yeah, no, same reasons. I love Wedge. He hangs around, and just hang around. Like there's something interesting. I always, not always. That makes me sound all right. Always, I always get emotional when in the Battle of Endor, the Wedge is leading. He's leading now,
Yes.
Red Squadron, and
Yes.
then when he says the line, "Lock S foils into attack position," because that's important. That's what Red Leader says, and he's just flying along. Was he Red 2?
Yeah.
In Star Wars, so it's like Wedge, he survived, man. It's there, and then on Hoth, good shot. Jensen takes down the AT-AT. Like he is the definition of a secondary character.
Absolutely. And he's unflappable.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke is like, I don't know what to do. Han's all being like, you guys got to get out of here. He is an unflappable guy in that cockpit
good
of
character.
whatever he's flying. Yeah, just fantastic. So that was my number 5. So my number 4 was Jabba. So we'll move to you.
Well, I mean,
friend.
my 5 was Wedge and my 4 was Jabba. So we're right there.
done
Back
and
to you,
done.
Matt.
Okay, here's a random. It has absolutely nothing, but I was thinking, it was like, oh, now we got King coming on the show. I want to ask if this is true.
Okay.
I read an article online, so you can only believe so much. of
Always
it.
true.
Whatever the band's name is, something in the modals.
Figrin Dan and the Modal Notes.
The modal notes. Okay.
Yeah.
They play jizz.
They're called Jizz Whalers.
Jizz whalers.
Yeah, their style of music.
Okay, is jizz.
Jizz Whalers.
So instead of jazz, it is jizz.
Lay
That is
down that
legit
jizz,
canon.
man.
Okay. I just want to make sure I read that and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me, right? You got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That is a
For
thing.
real.
It's great that they just ran out of ideas. And
Yeah.
just like, they're playing jizz. Let's just sneak a joke in there for ourselves. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I read that. I was like, there's no way that really that's true. Okay. All right.
This is akin to drawing a penis on the cave wall.
Yeah.
It is.
Man, you know?
It is. Or like what monks did when they transcribed before, like we had printing presses, and you see those dick drawings in the ledgers of all these Bibles or historical books, because they got bored and they would draw on the margins as they were transcribing letter for letter all these books.
What?
So that's why you have all this medieval, like these two dudes and one just got a 7-inch penis, like, and the guy itself is 3 inches tall. It's like, but it's beautiful. They just got bored on the sides over there. That's what jizz is. Just
man,
like, I don't know. What's the backstory on this one? Throw a dart at the board. I got nothing. I don't jazz jizz. Let's just keep it in. Let's just keep it in. Fuck it.
That's funny.
Space jazz.
Yeah.
All right, that was your number.
Okay, that was not my number. That was just a side question.
Side question about jizz.
Go ahead, Matt.
My number 3 is Lando, our punt from earlier.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah, Lando. Just great. He is close enough to where I was like, I'm kind of skirting the line with, is he still supporting?
I would put him in starring only because of Billy D, and I think the impact of the character. But I also think he's not one of the heroes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Lando's actually one of my favorite characters. He's a hero, but he's not on the marquee sometimes. You know.
For me, if like he was going to bump to primary, if in the second one, even though his part was huge, if somehow he had even more influence on the outcome. So it's just like they're giving him even more. It's like, what's his name? Longbottom or whatever from Harry Potter's that ends up saving like 10 things
Neville
at the end.
Longbottom,
Yeah. You take another character and have them do something. But he was on the Falcon doing amazing things, but it's just like, it was still the others. So to me, he was still supporting. He was supporting the overall push for the goal at the end. But it's just amazing.
I agree. That's fair, though. I think Lando is an important character for a lot of reasons, and I give him and Billy D. I mean,
It's Billy D.
It's Billy D. It's Billy D.
His charisma, as soon as he comes on, we see him on Cloud City, and you're like, I love the backstory is basically he's just a poker player kind of guy, and he scammed his way into this Cloud City.
Yeah.
Okay. That mines what precisely?
Yeah, Tabana gas.
So it's a specific gas.
Yes,
That's what, was it like methane or something?
It comes from these weird floating plants closer to the planet's surface. The planet's a gas, kind of gassy.
Okay. Do we know what we use the gas for?
The Imperial guys use it for some of their resources. Actually, it's in the Battlefront 2 game. You actually fly by these planets, these plants. They look like big, bloated whales with scales on them and stuff. It's really weird.
That's why I keep getting tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Fucking Bespin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's Battlefront 2, yeah. All over.
But Billy D, look, when you bring the second movie, and I always say the two most important things at Empire that made this saga and franchise work, both in story and out of story, is Yoda and Billy D. Williams as Lando, because now it feels as though the galaxy is bigger and real, and there's a connection. And Lando expands that universe, and then Yoda because you base the success of the entire movie on a puppet. And it worked.
Yeah.
Frank Oz deserves all the credit, and the design team, but think about that. The biggest movie ever, Star Wars. What's one of the main characters that Frank Oz is going to have one of his puppets? What? You know, it's.
Is it like a big, impressive, imposing puppet? You know what I mean? These guys can move stuff with their minds. He's basically a Smurf. He's 2 apples tall, or whatever. They're 3 apples tall. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
which, when you think about that for a Smurf, I mean, that's like that tall. That's kind of spooky.
It's unsettling.
Yeah, I was expecting him to be like this big, like action figure size.
Right. Sure unsettling.
Yeah.
Overall.
So it's number 3?
That was my 3, was Lando.
So then we go to my 3, right?
Yep.
It's okay. It's been a while since we've done 3-man weave. All right, now my number 3, and this is a very controversial choice, I imagine, for putting this high on the list, but it's still resonating with me now. Having seen the film so many times. Chirrut Imwe. Yeah. I put him at 3. Donnie Yen does a fantastic job bringing that character to life in Rogue One, and I know I should probably include Baze Malbus. They're essentially the R2-D2 C-3PO of this, but Chirrut, because I'm a massive fan of samurai films, because I'm a massive fan of these kinds of mystical approaches to the world, and his energy in the film. And I've seen Donnie play a number of things in those martial artist films, but there was something about this performance that touched me very deeply. And when he goes in Rogue One, only time I cry in the entire movie, and I cry every single time. Yeah. Because sometimes that's what you're called upon in life to do, is take this walk of faith in belief that when you're going to get there, you're going to accomplish what you need to accomplish, and you may die in the process, but there's just something about it that to me is very heroic and noble, and it's one of the most noble moments in the entire Star Wars canon. And I would argue this, that Rogue One may have more noble moments within it than almost any other Star Wars film. Now, are there heroic moments? Yes, in every Star Wars film. But there's more noble moments. And maybe because they all die at the end.
That's why.
But
that's why.
Yeah, and there's something about it and that's what puts it higher on the scale for me.
Sure.
Kind of like Magnificent Seven. more so than Dirty Dozen. There's something about it that it speaks more to me because they know what they're walking into. And it's just a different thing in the situation for me. So, because they don't have to, they go back in Magnificent Seven. Whereas in Dirty Dozen, they know it's a mission.
Yeah.
And they're already at the hangman's noose anyway. So it's no big deal. And so with this, it has that same kind of vibe, and sure, it does that. And really, with limited amount of screen time, and as Ken has said already, I want to reiterate, limited amount of character development, and you bring your own knowledge from having been friends with you and Christian and a number of Star Wars fans, Joseph Scrimshaw, what have you. I have heard about these temple guards and the guardian guarding the Kyber crystals.
Guardians of the Wills.
The Guardians of the Wills, right, exactly, all that kind of stuff. So I in a way, I kind of brought my own knowledge of having these conversations with people like you, Ken, into the theater. And so when I saw him, I immediately gave him like all this space to create this character.
Okay.
And he was fantastic for me in that way. And so that's all I can tell you.
I don't think you have anything to apologize
Okay.
for. think
I know he's high on the list and above Jabba, but
Yeah, he's a great character. I love Donnie Yen in this. I love there was in one of the interviews leading up to Rogue One, they're like, talk about your fight scenes because you've got a lot of experience doing this.
Right.
How did they coordinate that? And he was like, oh no, when you hire Donnie Yen, you also hire another director. Those are my fight scenes. Like I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So he brought a lot to it. He, I believe the story goes, is the one that made the decision to make him blind. Which is
okay.
fascinating.
which is probably
Wow, they give him that much input. That's interesting.
They're like, yes, Donnie.
well, he's a
whatever you want.
Chinese star.
Yeah, true. I'm not taking it away, but this is still a beloved property.
Yeah,
They don't want too many fingers in the pie.
Right,
That's Lord Miller. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is also why this casting doesn't seem like you're placating the Chinese market, obviously, like they did in Resurgence and a couple other films recently. This, you cast a star who can bring acting chops to the situation. And it may be this is his like homage to Zatoichi, which is the blind samurai that we've seen in a number of other old school films. So I love it. I just absolutely
He's a fun character. When they put the mask on, he's like, you got to be kidding me. I'm blind. Like, what are you
that
doing?
kind of stuff. It just brought so much character to him. All right. What's your number 3, Ken?
My number 3 is also from Rogue One.
Ooh.
It is I'm on the record today. This is one of my favorite characters of all time. It is Admiral Raddus.
Wow.
The Mon Calamari from the north regions of Mon Cala. He is absolutely one of my favorite characters. I've waxed poetic about this guy for a while. He struck a chord in me. I've been fortunate enough to become friends with Stephen Stanton, who voices him. Paul Casey
nice.
is inside the costume there. Raddus represents a lot of what is in me in the sense of, while everyone... That scene in Rogue One wasn't executed as best as it could have been, where Jyn is giving her speech to the leaders of the rebellion, and they're like, whatever, kid, go away.
Yeah.
A little clumsy. There was more to that. I think they could have done some of the reshoots. There's a longer meeting before that. Then they call her in and say, all right, we're ready to listen to you. Anyway, all that to say, the rebellion we knew growing up, we're all in the same generation. Those are the good guys. They fought the bad guys.
Yeah.
Rogue One taught us that they did. Though they fought each other first, they didn't know how to do this. One group, Mon Mothma was a senator, former senator who wanted to do it politically. There's a lot of people arguing at that table who were like, "We this is too much for us. We're gonna die." And even Jan Dodonna is not into it as much. Bail Organa's quiet. Like it is Admiral Raddus who's like, "Fuck it, we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta go fight."
Yeah.
But I don't think at that point, because they're all so hesitant, they know that, listen, we only have so many bullets in this chamber.
Yeah.
And this does not seem, we're going to believe her word to go and send a ton of our force to do what? Exactly. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
And that's why there's some subtext to that scene I think is really deep. And you're absolutely right, because that's a fair question.
It is.
You should ask that question. When do you fight? When is it time for war?
When is that like point of no return?
Yes.
Have we reached that point? Is this the point where like if we get this, then it's easy street?
Yeah.
Can we spend a lot of our capital?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you have to look at it like that. We only have so much built up.
Right. And you're 100% right. And that's why I think it's not that he was 100% right, but it was at the right time, because General Draven, who's the guy who ordered Cassian to kill her father, he wants to go, he's an intelligent guy, he wants to go start killing people. Raddus going, I say we fight. And then when the fact that he made his own decision, by the way, they're like, all right, well, okay, we need to talk to Raddus. He left, Lon. He left.
That's my favorite.
He took everybody and he left. And that moment in Rogue One, I love the third act of that movie more and more each time I watch it, when the fleet comes in It is a fist pumping moment.
Oh,
it is Return of the Jedi again.
The hammerhead?
Boom.
When that comes in, and they call it, what are they, is it Hammerhead Thunderbird or something?
Call up a hammerhead Corvette.
Corvette. That's what it is. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then as soon as it comes in, I was like, I love that you called it that. And boom. Oh.
In the novel, there's the subtext that the guys on that ship were like, you got to be kidding us, Radis. You want us to do what?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is a military kind of leader, a military
I
genius.
wish they put that in.
And,
That would be great.
I wish they put that in.
And I had the fortunate chance to say this to Stephen Stanton. He voiced it so well when there's a emotional, this is a dark movie, there's an emotional core to the fight that when Radis says, may the Rogue One, may the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're dying beneath him, but that's the cost of war.
Yeah.
And the decision he made at that table, it's one of those Star Wars nerd chill moments to me.
Yeah.
I legitimately think he's one of the most important characters, which is why Princess, now General Leia's ship in The Last Jedi is named the Radis. It's named after him. So-
Boom. Look at that.
It's impressive every time. Every time you do that. Just like, asking about anything. What was this? Well, it's actually that. Like, oh, that is fascinating. I've already forgotten like 90% of it. That's the worst part. You've told me and I'm going to ask again.
It'll be available on the transcript form.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 2, Matt?
2 is Darth Maul.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
That's great. No, not my. That's great. Not on my list. But I love.
I wish we had video because it's just like, that's great. I got nothing to add. You two talk about it.
You two talk about your
It's fine.
blunt weapon of a character.
Your Maul.
No, I love
That's the
Maul.
point, though.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him. Like, listen, he is pretty much the only redeeming characteristic that I enjoy about Phantom Menace.
Yep.
The battle between him and Qui-Gon and just that entire thing because
And
the rest
Obi-Wan.
of it.
And
yeah,
Obi-Wan,
and
yeah.
Obi-Wan, ultimately,
Yeah.
who dices him.
Yeah.
Just as soon as he walks on, you're like, wow. If you're going to go for it, I like that you guys went 100% for this. You didn't flinch from making this really over the top, but amazing character to behold.
Yeah.
He has a presence without saying a word, with the overly jaundiced eyes and
Yeah.
a million horns and this face paint that apparently is just his natural skin tone.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't a choice, and you're like, I love everything about this.
Yeah.
I loved the way they fleshed him out too in Clone Wars, and you got to see his backstory. It was
Yeah.
really interesting.
And his arc in Rebels is is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Which a friend of the Schmodown, Sam Witwer, voices.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so, but I agree everything you said, Matt. And also, I think it's really essential that the reason it's this high on my list is not just because he's such an incredible presence, Phantom Menace, because a lot of people I can see right now having this thought, yeah, but they kind of misused him and then they killed him off so quickly. Was it a waste? You could say that, but you have to factor in all the stuff from Clone Wars, from Rebels, from all these other, where they brought him back to life, from this, and especially in Clone Wars, because he was dead, and I think Clone Wars, the two things they did was resurrect Anakin and resurrect Darth Maul, and that really
Without a doubt.
accomplished it, and so you see it, and he's got a brother, a weird ass brother, so there's so much.
Sauvage Oppressed, the worst Star Wars.
Sauvage. I know I've heard that
it's
too. That's
savage, but Sauvage Oppressed.
Yes.
No.
And all these, just I love it. And
Please, it's no worse than Jizz. How dare you judge that? That's true. Yeah, Jizz is in canon.
Yeah. And to bring it back to Clone
fusion
Wars,
jizz.
could have been really stupid.
Yes.
And he's got spider, metallic
Yeah,
legs.
it comes back and they fix him from there. And I saw some where he goes to like his home planet.
Yeah.
And you see how he came to be and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Night Sisters.
Every
and
time.
stuff. Yeah. And to the Phantom Menace critique, which has been since the movie.
Right.
How could you do that to him? I think that's one thing George Lucas does do generally well, though he failed on a lot of levels in the prequels with this, is don't fall in love with your sets or your things just because they look cool and you need them.
Move on.
This is what he was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He's a footnote in this story.
But it speaks volumes that that Maul's character still resonates, even into Rebels. Like he has. That character was so well done and did so much with such limited screen time that people cannot get enough. Because he was taken out so quickly in Menace, people are like, I want more, and it's never going to be enough. And I think that's one of the indirect gifts of having killed him off so quickly in Menace. People just absolutely love this character and want to see more of him and see the story fleshed out. Like you said, just planet. We talked about his brother. Like there's so much involved with him, and people accept it all. And so much so that when he has the final battle with with Obi-Wan in Rebels.
Yeah.
It is one of the greatest moments in any
It's
Star
amazing
Wars
to watch.
media, right?
It is amazing to watch.
It's such an homage to the old school samurai films. It's how an actual battle would have gone between samurais.
Yeah.
And
Split them.
Yep.
Split them up. You have to.
Yep. And to see it happen so quickly, I was shocked at the ballsiness and the correctness of that decision.
It was,
and that they got away with it. Like I was so surprised that
I love
Filoni
even
did that.
the throwaway little things, like in essence, his get around cars and motorcycle.
Yeah.
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 It's a great, subtle thing for the
speeder,
character.
yeah.
He's just kind of, he's got a low, like he's hanging back and he's got a hog or something. And when he comes flying over and does a half gainer or something and lands and instantly goes into attack. And I was like, dude, you get to that final battle, like, of course he can do all these spins.
right.
We already saw him ride a hog and then do a backflip off of that thing and take on a Jedi Master. Like, okay, I buy everything this character can do.
There is this mythical thing that as if I was working at Lucasfilm, I would hate someone like me saying, but it is like, well, that's not Star Wars, or that seems like Star Wars. Like, what does that really mean?
Right, right, right.
You got Jizz Whalers and you got Luke Skywalker. What? And his name's Skywalker. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what is Darth Maul? The moment you saw him, you were like, oh, that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's Star Wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why the character's powerful.
Like it's one of basically like the interesting cantina characters in the background, and just pulling one of those who are only there for such a short time, but they capture your imagination. Let's make him a bad guy. What do you got at
what do you
two?
My number 2, sticking with the leadership of the Rebel Alliance there, it is Mon Mothma.
Oh,
Wow.
all right. That's my number one.
That's your number 1?
Yes.
You want to talk about it when it's your one? We
No,
can
no,
do that.
We're fine to talk about it now.
Okay.
We've done this before with
Okay.
Matt. Yeah.
I know, probably for the same reason. This is we again grew up. You come out of New Hope, even if you come out of Jedi, which is technically the first one I remember seeing first, because
Yeah.
that's what I was 6 or
Me
7.
too.
So you got the story ahead of time, but you go back. Without a doubt, I mean, the opening crawl of New Hope is like Princess Leia's trying to save her people. So you think the rebellion is hers. Now, Leia's great. Love Carrie Fisher, blah, blah, blah. All that's good. But when the story expands, Mon Mothma might be the most important person to the rebellion. She gave it a legitimacy. She left her seat on the Senate, went into hiding. The speech in Rebels is great.
Oh, so amazing.
And so this character that has 20 seconds of screen time, really, I don't know,
Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi, many Bothans died. That's what she's remembered for, right? I love that she was supposed to be in Sith. They cut those scenes.
Yes.
And then
I didn't know that, really?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
her, Bail Organa, and Bai Ling.
Yeah.
who's just in there as a senator.
Bai Ling.
Bai Ling.
Yeah.
They cut
Yeah.
that out.
Thank God.
Some of that probably all right, but they bring the same actress, Genevieve O'Reilly, back in for Rogue One, and again, small screen time, but there's a presence, and you can tell the reverence and respect, and so this is a choice that I think I could make a different choice in terms of cool character on screen, everything, but this is I choose this for story purposes. She is so key to what we love about the rebellion and all those kind
Well,
of things.
and the thing is with Star Wars is at times it can be it's a space soap opera, right? People say, and you have these characters and playful characters and fun characters. I love you, I know, all these iconic moments that have that smirk to them. Mon Mothma is consistently the serious one in the room.
Dour.
She understands what the stakes are in every single second she's on screen. There is no joke. There is no quip. There is none of that. Even with Chirrut Imre, you put in the bag, like you said, over, there's a quip. Even though he could be completely like Mon Mothma is, he still has a quip. Mothma has none of that.
Yeah.
And even when Jyn Erso kind of pushes back at her, she gives her a little respect smile.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
And
that's a character
and
choice.
that is mostly from the deleted scenes in the trailer. And there's a great moment. My friend, your friend Joseph Scrimshaw says there. You could read into that when Jyn Erso's like, "Your guys are rebels, right? I rebel."
Yeah.
And given her attitude, Mom, that smile's kind of like, "You're right. You're right. You have no idea."
Yes,
what you're gonna
yes.
have.
And
you think you know, but you don't.
And that's what I love about her character. And then when you read, of course, in the novels, that she has more to do in the novel stuff with Leia, the back and forth with Leia.
Yeah, her Leia.
Yeah.
She's a mentor to Leia.
Yeah.
Because that Leia, Princess of Alderaan book, she mentors Leia without a doubt.
Right.
But in Bloodlines, they fought. You learn that they fought. Mon Mothma maybe wanted to demilitarize and kind of not. And Leia kind of got his reputation as a warmonger.
Yep.
Who was like,
What was this? But this then it has to be post
Yes.
Alderaan being blown up.
This is leading to The Force Awakens.
Yep.
There's a
Okay.
book by Claudia Gray called Bloodlines, and where the government is now, the New Republic is now centrist and populist, and Mothma's kind of pulling back, retiring. She was not the Supreme, but the Chancellor after Jedi.
Okay.
Kind of ran the galaxy at that point, and they had different views. And so Leia kind of becomes this one, like, there's this thing called the First Order, and it's a problem. And the rest of the galaxy was like, quiet down, daughter of evil guy. We got this. The galaxy's good. And a lot of it stems out of some of the... Mon Mothma wasn't in that group, but like her and Mothma disagreed a little bit on how to run the galaxy afterwards.
Sure.
And it's great character because, like, when you read the book, you find out how this idea, like, oh, it never occurred to me. We all know her dad's Vader. Nobody else does.
No one knew.
So when they find out,
So yeah,
as
this is
a
all the backstory I
political-
don't know, and that's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's really interesting. Like you make that choice, and then
Yeah.
now I'm kind of lost in the reality of because Mon Mothma to me is when she comes on, she has that. We're using like any world leader.
Yeah.
There's a sense like boom, everybody's attention is focused, and she just has that gravitational force
Yeah.
with everyone in the room.
Yeah.
So that's what she was, and you're like, okay, super serious as a viewer, but I don't know her backstory to this
Yeah.
degree.
Right.
Well,
But
there's-
yeah,
No, as my friend John Roque would say, she has some gravitas.
Yes.
Yes.
it's true. But
Yeah, no, there's a lot to it.
But even if you didn't have the backstory, I think her coming in Rogue One is what elevated
True,
her
100%.
to the position
Yeah,
for
if
me.
it was just Jedi,
if it was
yeah,
just
yeah,
Jedi,
yeah,
she'd been
yeah.
farther down if she'd even made the list.
Yeah.
But her coming the way she did in Rogue One, and you're right, Ken. I think there's a lot more in that room that was
Yeah.
gone, and especially when they're deciding whether to attack or not, there's more of that. And she has the interaction with Bale when she says, he said, "Can you get your Jedi or whatever?
Get your buddy.
Get your buddy,
your
right?
buddy.
Which is Kenobi, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so there's that kind of and so Genevieve does such a great job with it. And of
Yeah.
course, I forget the actress who did it in Jedi,
Yeah.
but she already laid the groundwork. Genevieve
Yeah.
caved in, and in essence, almost like without missing a step, steps
Yeah.
in, evokes that actress's original interpretation of the character and gives it another life, and is fantastic. And so for me, that's why it's my number one, because she resonates. Everything she does affects everything around. In every battle, in every movie she's in, everything she does affects everyone around her because she is the smartest one in the room at times, and certainly the most stable and the least emotional.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you need that. You need
It's
that.
most diplomatic.
Yes,
Yeah.
diplomatic. That's a great word, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then my number one,
Yes.
Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
Boba Fett.
Wow.
Boba Fett.
That's secondary.
How is he primary? Well, how many
Everyone
words does he
talks about
say?
him. Everyone talks about him.
Yeah,
No,
they
it's a
talk
great
about
choice.
him.
I'm just busting your
How
balls.
many
It's a
how many
great choice.
words like, and then he gets ungloriously killed.
Yeah.
Like he lives more in our imagination for how badass, and especially when
Yes.
his genetic line is part of the clones,
Right.
and stuff like that.
The
You build him
Django.
up, but. Boba, I remember the build up to Boba, and
Yeah.
and oh my god, and the next before Jedi came out, me and my friends were spinning like, oh, you know what I heard, and we're all just making this up, like, oh, this is what, just like this is what I heard that they're gonna do with Boba,
Right.
and then you see it and you're like, oh, I don't care. I still walked out of the movie, but
Yeah.
Boba Fett to me has always lived as this like he was the greatest character that never was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always gonna be one of my top 2 to 3, just like because of. My belief, whenever I was that 6 years old or 7 years old or something, when Jedi came out, it's undying love.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had entirely built this. He doesn't say 2 words, but you can tell like this is a man not to mess with.
Yeah.
From Empire. I literally don't know, but I mean it's like 2 sentences, if that.
Yeah.
3, 4. I mean, it's
It's
so
not
little.
much.
Yeah, so little.
He's only in like he's there with all the bounty hunters,
Yep.
and just like you only see him in spots.
Well, he's there in Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, he's a big part of it because he's after Solo as well.
He is,
but he's
mainly
hires
just
him.
he's just moving the thing like through the hallways. Like
Right,
he
but
doesn't.
They do have interactions, I think, in Empire Strikes Back. Vader and Fett.
Boba Fett,
Yeah,
yeah, a
they have a
little
little bit
bit.
like,
A little bit.
exchange, and then he's more prevalent in Jedi in the battle sequence and ends up in the Rancor pit.
Yeah, he
and
gets
we
hit
still
in the
don't
back
know-
and just fly. He's dead.
We still
He's dead.
there's a lot of rumors that he's
I
going
mean,
to come back.
EU, he wasn't, but in canon, I mean,
Yeah.
I could see it. Well, the reason
They're totally going to bring
the
him back.
reason that they
How can you not?
This
yeah.
is something.
Yeah, how can you not?
In the Aftermath novels, which came out the last couple of years by Chuck Wendig, there's a character by the name of Cobb Vanth who lives on Tatooine, and there's there's the main story, then these interludes that pop up through all 3 books, and it's all through. he is this guy Cobb Vanth declares himself the sheriff of this new town that emerged after Jabba went away, and all these mining corporations are coming in to try to to make their own criminal empire now that Jabba's gone, right?
Sure.
Well, the first scene, Cobb Vanth is going through the with some Jawas, and he and another guy fight over like this armor that they're seeing there, and it's Fett's armor.
Oh wow!
And so Cobb Vanth ends up and he's wearing the armor. So we know at some point Boba Fett has taken the armor off, or maybe he died.
See, I would love it if you are going to bring him back, like the Sarlacc tore his leg off, so he has one fully robotic leg
There
or
you
something
go.
now, and he carries the
see
scar.
that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like he got out, but there was damage that he
Yeah.
took, and then just like him crawling out through the desert and how he gets rescued.
Yeah.
Like you could sell me on that, sure.
And I love the idea too. Like we obviously know Daniel Logan plays him in Attack of the Clones, and that character to show up in Clone Wars and everything. Logan voices him a lot, but I like the idea that he's like the Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride.
Okay.
And
Sure.
I love the idea that Daniel Logan went away at some point, but Kitster from Tatooine, Anakin's little friend, who at the pod race and everything. I like to think that Kitster ended up becoming Boba Fett, and that's why he and Vader keep working together.
That'd be brilliant. Oh my God, that's fucking brilliant. I would be so down to see that. That would be brilliant. And I think that totally works. You're right, because it's the name. It's
Yeah.
Boba Fett. It's
Boba
not.
Fett.
It's not Dread Pirate Roberts.
The real
it's the name.
real Dread
Yeah.
Pirate Roberts has been retired for 5 years.
Boba
He
Fett's-
listened to-
Yeah, and that would be. Damn, that would be brilliant.
And
if
think
you
about
could
it.
do
This is
that.
why he's secondary.
Shit, I'm
The
all aboard.
Guy doesn't have two
Oh, no.
sentences, and he's living
You're absolutely
on.
right. You're
He
absolutely
is
right.
secondary. He also is the definition of cool, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even when Darth Maul,
Yeah.
he's like the prequels version of Boba Fett,
Right.
Captain Phasma,
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Christie's character.
Yep.
Oh,
The
it's
respect
like,
he
she's like
gets-
the new Boba Fett. She looks cool and doesn't do much in the
Yeah.
movie, like
Right.
But the respect he gets on Jedi when they're in like kind of having
Yeah,
the party-ish and whatnot, and people like just kind of nod at him, and he like gives a little nod back, like, yeah. Trust me, you had to acknowledge that I'm in this room, and I see you too.
I always say that's me at parties, just against the wall. Like I just nod.
There was a keg over there back in the day. That was me. I just stand next to the keg. How you doing? You need a beer? I'll pour you one. I'm going to be over here all night.
I'm the Boba Fett of beer.
That was salacious. Didn't hook up with her, did you? This is such a great choice, Matt. And of course, that's my nickname on Jedi Council is Rogue Fett because I love Boba Fett, but I had to leave him off because in my mind he is so prevalent throughout this whole thing. But you make a great
He's
case.
prevalent in our
you
minds.
make a great case, and you're absolutely right when you break it down. I think this is where my bias of having so much information about him and separate other.
It true
parts of
exists,
the
but I'm saying
media-
in the context
Yeah,
of Star
you're
Wars
right.
movies and whatnot,
And that's why I think you're absolutely
he is
right.
a secondary character.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with
and maybe if I had more time to think about it, I would have put him on the list a little bit higher, and or even had him on the list. So it's a great choice.
But it's also arbitrary because other times we're like, I love what they did in Clone Wars with the character too. And this, I'm like,
Yeah.
I know they did, but for me, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
apply it here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
All right, so we have the drum roll to Ken's number one.
What do you got?
Already mentioned, but loved Admiral Akbar.
Yeah.
Okay.
My number one. In the same vein, I seem to, even though I'm a fan of the Imperials, I love these rebel leaders, apparently. Akbar, talk about cool and funny, like unintentionally. I grew up, "It's a trap" wasn't a catchphrase.
Oh.
It just was a line, But then mid-'90s, that Star Wars nostalgia sprung up again. Seth Green and everyone turned it. So "It's a trap" became such a catchphrase. In story, he's also an important leader. There's
Yeah.
a reason Leia pulls him out of retirement, which is literally a story point.
Yeah.
Pulls him out of retirement. That's why he's in The Force Awakens. He's now old. Kill the base is pretty big. But I just, there's a lot of respect. You talk about the respect for Mothma.
Yep.
A lot of respect for Akbar. A lot of respect for the Mon Calamari people or species because like their ships, his base, his ship Home One was like a pleasure cruise type of ship. It wasn't a
Shut up, really?
Yeah. And so they were oppressed by the Empire.
Royal Caribbean?
Yeah.
And he just took it over?
Same with Radiss's ship, the Profundity. They were oppressed. They were oppressed by the Empire.
You could say any two words and I would have believed you. Any two
by the
words.
Queen Mary.
It was sailing jackfruit. You're like, all right, jackfruit.
Jackfruit it is. They were oppressed by the Empire, so they didn't have their own kind of standing army or fleets. They turned their civilian vessels into things and got into the fight.
Right.
They rose up. They have that fighting spirit. And Akbar's memorable, that outfit. He's got kind of the bell bottoms, those white
Yeah.
Business slacks.
Fantastic.
Very Star Trek.
Yeah, very Star
Yeah.
Trek.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so I just love Akbar, man.
And if you know and if you read it, you get the backstory. The rumored backstory is that he was a slave of Jabba's.
okay.
I think it was.
There's some of that, yeah.
Yeah, there's rumors about like when he was a
confuses
a
me.
wee calamari. He
Yeah.
was a slave.
That's the thing.
Dude, and then broke out and escaped, and that's why he hates the empire so much, and blah blah blah, and all the things that he did, and so that even adds more to the lore of the character.
Yeah.
You think Lucas is preaching evolution there because they were calamari, so they used to be living in the water, and
Sure.
now they walk
Yes.
among men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be.
Who knew?
Who knows?
Who knew? He's a Darwinist through and through. I always loved Akbar. First off, the coloration of the skin,
Yeah.
even from back then, it looked completely real.
Yeah.
Like as a little kid, you're like, oh, I wanted to be creeped out, but I knew he was a good guy, so I was fine with it. kind of thing.
Like,
But yeah, but if he went in and like pinch my baby's cheek, I'd be like, not too hard. Like I don't know what calamari's
big-
strength is like.
Yeah, flipper hands.
Yeah,
too.
he's
Like,
and their feet. Like,
Yeah,
I
like,
see.
what-
Like
what's going on with
I
those
don't know.
shoes?
I don't know, but we're on the same side, so you're cool. You're cool.
And I think who deserves a lot of credit for making Akbar cool is the people on the set who worked the props to make him
Yeah.
swing around like he does.
Oh, yeah.
That makes
That's
him
the
such a
best.
badass, doesn't
that's the
it?
best.
And the jump cutting really
Yeah.
worked for their
Yes.
the chaos within
Yeah.
their room. It's a trap. Like I think he spins right after that, and they do a quick cut
Shift
2
starts
seconds later.
moving, yeah.
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 So great.
You need Akbar to win that war.
That's right. All right. Well, that's our separate top 10 lists for the top 10 secondary characters in Star Wars. Ken, and now we're going to compile
the
this
list,
list.
baby.
It's going to be a little interesting. All right.
All right.
So,
I don't have a pen, so I will just argue.
that's fine.
Or I can
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So who's now? Who do we all have Akbar on the list? He's in my number 7.
He's in my 7. He's your 1.
My one, yeah.
I feel like we have to put him up to number 1. This is on our list, and it's Ken's number 1.
Listen, Ken just dropped so much fucking knowledge
I know.
about Star Wars
He really
that if
did.
you want him at 1,
I mean,
I'll give it to you. Your opinion is more valid than
I don't
mine
know
on
if
some
it
level.
seems fair, but I'll take it.
Well, if it's on all our lists, that kind of trumps
That
almost
trumps
anything
it,
else.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like voting for the MVP in the American League. You
Well,
get
that
5
then
points
means-
for
Right.
We all have Jabba. I think we have Jabba collectively higher.
we have Jabba collectively
At
higher
4.
at 4.
Yeah, I have it at 3.
So does that mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have it at 4.
So
I'm sorry, 4.
We have Wedge at 5, Jabba at 4. Does that mean Wedge wins the entire thing?
Well, I think
Well-
Jabba would have to be 2, if not. Jabba's
Yeah.
had to be 2.
If it's on all our lists,
It should be higher technically because it collectively shares all of. But once
Right.
again, I will acquiesce to your knowledge
But
and
again,
say Akbar can be
if
1.
you got like 5 points for the number 1 vote, and then like a 2 and a 3 point,
Let's
So
not
should
make
we
this
put
any more
Jabba at
complex
1?
than it needs to be.
I think you make a great point. Maybe we should put Jabba at 1 because there's less discrepancy,
fine
and then
with that.
Akbar at 2. I think that makes sense. I
I'm
think
fine
that
with that.
absolutely makes sense.
I don't know. It's your fan base. If they're
It
gonna
will-
at me-
look,
if they're
this is
gonna at
just
me,
us.
bro, for this stuff.
No,
No.
they won't
That
at you
guy
at all.
included.
Well, then you guys, it's Mon Mothma 1, 2.
Yeah.
And we got Maul at what, 2?
2.
2.
Yeah.
Do we have any other commonality? I don't think we do.
Other than we got Wedge.
Yeah, but that's between the two of you. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
9.
We have Lando. I got Lando at 3. You got him where?
Oh, I have Lando at 6.
All right, I would say Mon Mothma then next because it's
Okay.
a 1-2
At 3?
between the two
Okay.
of you. Yeah.
Sure.
She got a lot of points in that vote. She led the league in batting average, 353.
She's pretty amazing. Her
Yeah.
war is pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
war's pretty high.
So then number 4. So we took.
We both have Darth Maul high.
I think that makes sense.
I think Maul goes, yeah.
What do you have next, Ken?
I'm high on my list. Which one? Which number you want?
Because we
What
did
do you got-
Akbar, and then what was your number 2?
You got your 1 and
Mon
2,
Mothma.
right?
So Mothma's on there. What's your number 3?
3 Admiral Raddus.
Okay, so neither one of us have Radis on.
Yep.
I got Bo, but my number 1, it's not on.
Oh,
No.
then I guess that's
Boba,
fair.
Boba, yeah.
Put Boba there.
I'd be okay with that.
And have we put Lando on yet?
I think Lando
No.
Okay.
needs to go there. We can't, Billy D's already a little upset he's not in 8 and 9. He'd be upset even more for he's not on.
It's kind of hard not to, I
Yeah.
can't blame him for that.
Yeah,
He's still
Star-
around. That character didn't die.
Star Wars Celebration. He did not look thrilled.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he
There
was up.
wasn't in it?
He's an older gentleman now and quiet and everything, but he didn't say much. And then, like when Harrison came out, you could just tell he was kind of like, Billy D's still here. All right, that's fine.
K2SO. Who had that?
I got that at 6.
Okay, I had that at 6 as
Do
well.
we have?
Or, I
What do
mean,
you
I
have
had it at
next?
7.
Oh, you have the general.
Yeah, I have
After
Admiral
that?
Raddus,
Or Admiral?
Jabba the Hutt, Wedge until he's 9 numb. That's my going down to 3 to 6. But if you both have,
Yeah, but I think you guys have Wedge higher together.
Oh, we do have Wedge. So Wedge
yeah,
next.
Wedge,
So
Wedge
Wedge.
would be next.
Yes.
This is great. This is the definitive.
Do we have
list.
any other comment at K2SO?
We have K2SO.
K2SO?
Do you two have anything?
We
Do
have,
we have anything?
We have 9 nub.
9 numb and K2SO.
Okay.
So K2SO could be next since it's
Yeah.
higher commonality.
Yeah. and funnier.
And then Nien-Nunb.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
nine.
Niennunb.
I'm just going to spell it phonetically.
Sure.
Yeah, you're close enough.
And what number is that? 9?
That is 9, so we got one left.
What do you have left?
I got Mace at 5.
Ooh, Mace
I mean,
Windu?
I would not be opposed to putting Mace on that list,
Yep.
rounding it out there.
Okay, that's fair.
That was easy. That was much easier.
I was expecting more of a fight. You know?
Well, we kind of broken down the rule. Like, if we know, like, all right, we're just going to...
Yeah.
Occasionally, you'll be like, there's no way I'm putting that high. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. What
Yeah,
are
right.
we talking about?
We have
But
the
for the
battles.
most part, it's like, the show needs to end at some point.
Yeah, you're right. I do have some dinner to eat.
Yeah, we do have lives.
Yeah.
We do have...
Yep.
Sometimes, the conversation or the argument is more heated. Other times, it's just like, I'll give it to you. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
All right, so who bangs? Do I bang?
Doesn't matter. I wrote them down too, so I
Well,
don't
you
even know
write
who
it down.
started.
I'll bang. I bang.
Okay.
I'll bang then. All right. Here we go. The top 10. Just see, there's a late night. All right.
I'm not even sure what's happening, but I love it.
The top 10 secondary characters in Star Wars. Yeah.
Beautiful.
At number 10.
Mace Windu.
At number 9.
Nien-Nunb.
At number 8.
K2SO.
At number 7.
Wedge Antilles.
At number 6.
Lando Calrissian.
Starting on our top 5 at 5.
Boba Fett.
Number 4.
Darth Maul.
Number 3.
Mon Mothma.
And at number 2.
Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap. And our number 1 secondary character in Star Wars is.
Jabba the Hutt.
Well, that's a strong list.
That is a great list.
All right,
Do you guys,
great characters.
Who else you got? You got anybody else written down?
Oh Jesus, there's like 50.
I know.
Stormtroopers, you could argue, are secondary characters because they never actually do anything until.
Yeah, but then you're
until
gonna pick
Finn
one of the
does.
specific clones.
I would pick the traitor guy from Force Awakens. Traitor!
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pick him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that all the way. Viceroy Newt Gunray.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
For some reason, that guy he's such a racist character.
Yeah.
So racist.
Yeah,
It's like I buy that 100% when he walks. He is this sniveling little son of a bitch.
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, just calculating.
General Grievous.
Yeah.
General Grievous. Yeah, if he was.
There were so many that I
There's
was.
a lot.
Yeah,
There's a
especially
lot.
especially if you dance around the prequels.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many with all those federations and all those kinds of things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun characters that
Yeah.
are bizarre. They're George Lucas at his 1950s sci-fi best.
Yeah.
Get that ET senator.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
extraterrestrial senator.
The Hammerhead.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the hammerhead.
I wrote him down. I was like, I love that character.
Yeah.
He's only there for a half a beat, but
Yep.
Poe was a possibility because Poe is not in Force Awakens a lot.
He was supposed to die.
Yeah. So you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You could make a strong case that he's a secondary character. It's really Finn and Rey that are the driving forces of that.
I just
movie.
assumed once you get Oscar Isaac, this
Yeah.
thing has legs and they're going to flesh him out in the next ones.
I think
Yeah.
that's what happened. I mean, when I say supposed to die, I think they fixed it by the time they went to set. But in the first early drafts, it was like he dies there, and then you got Oscar Isaac, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen that
You got
Next
a guy
Machina? Yeah.
with that caliber of an actor.
Get that with that overbite in that jacket. Come on, man, or underbite, whatever you got there. Yeah.
I still watch Force Awakens to see that moment when he slaps Boyega on the chest as they're about to go into battle.
Yeah.
And Boyega turns around and looks at him, and it's suspect. It looks a little. You could absolutely argue
That's just
a
two
gay
bros
relationship or
being
two
bros, my
I
man.
guess. Finn's a sensitive guy, clearly. So it comes through.
Yeah, he's been around men his whole life.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Yeah, I mean, he was stolen at what, like the age of?
Very young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact age, but yeah, very young. Yeah.
Ken, what are you looking forward to in Last Jedi? Like, do you have thoughts of what you want to see?
I have a lot of thoughts. I don't have a lot of predictions. Like I try not to predict. I don't ever want to be right. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I want these creators.
You want to be surprised. You want to be great.
I want these creators. Now, there's things that I think that generally should happen. These are these epic stories. Sure. I need to see. Need is a scary thing to say, but I need to see like Luke Skywalker have that hero moment, whether it's with the lightsaber or not. I hope they're able to give us that. It's tough, but the how they handle General Leia is going to be tear-jerking probably no matter what. But
Yeah.
how they deal with that. So I want to see that, and I'm really curious how they play out these choices all the marketing is about the choices these characters make. Rey and Kylo in particular. I think Rey is one of the most important characters in Star Wars, and I think Kylo is one of the most interesting characters in Star Wars. So I want to see what those choices are.
Yeah.
And what they make. And I want to see some porgs. Just for you, John.
There we go. It's fucking porgs. Matt, what do you think? Is there anything you're looking forward to, or are you just going to sit back and enjoy?
I've only seen the trailer once.
Okay.
So I'm going in blind, and that's the only way I'm going to do it. I'm trying not to log on anywhere. Was it after Saturday?
Yeah. Apparently you can mute. I didn't know you could do this on Twitter. You can mute any
words.
mention of certain words, and if you want to mute,
I will be looking up that functionality.
At the time of this recording, that day is a few days away. I've muted almost every Star Wars related word on Twitter. Yeah, it's been
There
nice.
you go.
I can't imagine how long that's taken you.
It's comforting.
So, and someone tagged Ken and tagged me and said, that's why I muted Roka, because what happened 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
well,
when I was on a movie fights and I let it slip that I thought Harrison might be looking for a new franchise.
Yeah.
Which was like, apparently for some people was like, what? Han Solo might die? And I'm like, how big of a fan are you of Star Wars that you know that he's been wanting to die since fucking Jedi? He just strikes back.
He is now in his head. It's like, I've done this.
Yeah.
And I've done all these others. I mean, I think he's more apt to run the wheels off Indiana.
Yes.
And just keep doing that because he has more ownership of who that character is as opposed to Han.
Right.
You could have told me that easily, and I've been like, it doesn't temper my expectations of this movie. I know you want out. That's fine.
Some people thought I spoiled it, and I was like, no. I said
That's not spoiling it.
I was there that day in the booth, and I know what you did not spoil it. You said I thought there was a lot of guesses.
Someone spoiled something of The Wire. If you guys have seen that, and I will talk about it off air if you have seen it because I don't want to spoil it for somebody else.
I have not seen it.
I have not. So
okay. Literally, I had gotten all 5 seasons from a friend. He's like, here's all the DVDs. And I got hooked from season 1. And then his brother rolls up one day and we're all talking about it. And they knew how far I was. And he's like, oh, when blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you son of a. And he's like, oh, you don't know? And I'm like, dude, I got these from your brother. I am watching these all right now. And I was like, oh, I did. I mean, ultimately it was fine. But it's one of those of like, man, it's not. I heard stories of people walking out of like while they're waiting in line for Force Awakens and people talking about that.
Yes.
And you're like, that's wrong.
Yep.
Whoever that is should just be sucker punched as soon as they get outside.
There's rules. Look, when I came out of Force Awakens, at the ArcLight in Hollywood was the first time I saw it. I seen it at a screening, but then some friends and we literally were like, if we're going to talk, do not talk about it to the parking lot. Like, be respectful.
Wait to your car.
Wait to your car.
Yeah.
You know? You don't know that someone might be seeing Bad Moms or someone might be seeing Force Awakens.
Right.
You know? Or Sisters, whatever that Tina Fey movie that was coming out.
And not everyone goes at the same time. Not everyone goes opening night. Like, have some respect.
But there are clearly people waiting in line. When I heard those stories, I was like, oh my God, I would have killed somebody.
And in our position as broadcasters and digital media and movie discussion, I really believe, and it makes me, I think I end up becoming more of the a-hole than intended. But I won't even, I say emotions are spoilers.
Yeah.
So when I came back from Rogue One, David Griffin was sitting here where you're sitting now, John, where we're recording. Was like, how was it? And I went, I will not tell you. And he said, are you happy or sad? I said, I will not tell you.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Yeah.
Go see it.
I don't want to ruin the experience for you.
Can't.
Not on these last 2, especially after Rogue One. I loved that one.
Yeah.
I really loved that one.
Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah, and all the small little choices too, like there's no title card and everything in the beginning.
Yeah.
This is a side story. This isn't part of the main, epic that's going on. This is something that's leading up to.
I like that choice. I
agree.
I wish there was a crawl maybe to explain a little bit of it, but I loved the cold open. The cold open was awesome. That's
Just
one of
straight
my
to
favorite
it.
scenes in the movie. Yeah. Oh, you got Krennic, you got Urso.
Yeah. It's just that's it, and the movie starts. You're like, oh, what are you here?
But that's perfect. Like, boom, it just builds your anticipation that quickly, hitting you with all those different sensory, the little bit of overload, and you just jumped right in and be like, okay, I didn't need all the build up. Sure for this.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder how they're going to do Solo. If they're going to have a crawl for Solo or not. I wonder what they're going to do.
Precedent might be set not to do it, but I don't
would
know.
like it not to be.
You only do it for part of this storyline.
Yep, definitely.
Yep.
Well, Ken Napzok, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
I know it's the end of a long day for us.
Yeah,
Both of
but
us
it's
have been
good.
working here, but we appreciate you taking the time to to be on the show and impart some of your Star Wars wisdom to us and our fans. And talking about these characters, that's what's fun about Star Wars. Look, I know people love Star Trek, people love Star Wars. Star Wars is a whole nother animal because you can go layers deep on this thing with so many incredible characters and so many and that have so much life in them, and all kinds of media give you the life behind these characters, and so it's so much fun to talk about with someone so knowledgeable like
Love
you
it.
on the Top 10 show. Thank you, Ken.
Love it. Thank you guys for having me. I know this was a long time in work, so to get on the show with you guys, and I love what you guys do. Glad it's going strong.
Thank you, Ken.
Not a problem. I can't wait till I have another good topic when I'm in the bathroom and you're floating out of it. And be like, perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Welcome to Hollywood, baby. What's your dream, man? We make it happen.
Listen, for anybody that wants to be a guest, apparently meet me in a bathroom. As
Great.
long
Good
as
to
we're
know.
passing ships in the night. You're going out and I'm coming in, or vice versa. And I'll be like, boom, I can hit you up.
And that's why I wear my headphones in the bathroom. I don't want anybody talking to me when I'm in there.
Please,
I'm
I've
doing
heard
my
you
business.
talking on your phone in Spanish to someone
In the bathroom?
In the bathroom?
in the bathroom.
Oh, that's probably my mom. But
Okay,
yeah, but I have
well.
my headphones on while I'm talking in Spanish, I think.
Perhaps. I don't know how that makes it any better. But okay.
Ken, where can people find you? Where can they get in touch with
Yeah.
all your stuff? Where can they listen to you? All this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Please.
The at Ken Napzok across all social media platforms. I have the Napzok files available where podcasts are found. Also, Force Center, which is my Star Wars podcast feed with Joseph Scrimshaw and Jennifer Landa. We go in really, really deep, and all obviously catch me on Collider Jedi Council. It's the Star Wars season, man. It's not Christmas season. It's Star Wars season.
Damn right. And do you have a Patreon for
For Napzok Files and Force Center, we have a Patreon if you choose to support me there. We got some fun rewards there. Patreon's been very rewarding for me, not just I have a humble take from that financially, but I got it emotionally. It's been a good little community I'm building. It's fun. That's been the added bonus to that.
And it's patreon.com /
Napzok, the Napzok Files.
and then patreon.com /
Force Center.
Force Center. And Force Center I've been on a few times.
Yeah,
It's been a joy to be on there. And I hope to come on soon again
Absolutely.
because I love those in-depth discussions we get into about the
Absolutely.
philosophy of Star Wars.
You're great at that. I'd love to get Matt notes,
Definitely.
as well as you have Matt notes on our show Databank Brawl, which is where we take two Star Wars characters and improv a fight to the death with them.
It's brilliant.
So you just want to see me get pummeled.
No,
'Cause
I want to see. I'm sure you'd have a lot in your brain on how to make.
I feel like I'm a lawyer now, and I'm arguing like this case in essence.
Well, it's a.
Are you judge,
it's a-
jury,
no,
executioner?
we decide it's a long form improv, and we just.
Talk to me.
we'll do it.
Okay, give me.
It's almost
is it
like-
like bear versus shark?
Well,
like,
it's-
what are we talking about?
It's almost like D&D where there's a game
Yeah,
master
yeah.
and they and you come in with knowledge of a character you've been assigned. Another person comes with knowledge of a character assigned, and then the game master in essence lays out the
lays out
the
And what, you-
environment.
It's Joseph Scrimshaw show, and like
Yeah.
me and him do it more often than not. For guests, it's hard to hard to get guests to drive out to your places a lot. But yeah, if it was like Scrimshaw will drop the characters by surprise, so we don't know. So you
Yeah.
can look it up. Bib
Okay.
Fortuna as an example, but Biza Fortuna was one that we fought. So you look it up. We only go. They have to appear on StarWars.com on the website in the databank section. That's why it's called Databank Brawl.
Okay.
And then you just go. So it's Gonk Droid versus Admiral Akbar.
And then he says what? All right, so they're in this situation, and how does...
Not even we start. Where do we want the fight to go? We want it to be on Camino. All right. They meet that 98% of our fights end up in a cantina, at some kind of fight. But we go all over the place.
It's a good set.
Yeah.
It's a good set. It's not a bad place.
What did we have? Maz Kanata versus somebody.
Yeah, I try to remember.
And it was it was what John Ratzenberger's character from.
the pilots.
Major Bren Derlin.
That's right, Major
Bren Derlin.
We had them going.
What
in. It
a
was
terrible
great.
We
name.
even recently, one of our favorite ones is there's I think his
Derlin.
name's like something Tubbs. He is the bass player in the band in Maz Kanata's castle versus the cook at Maz Kanata's castle, which is a real character.
Which band? Is it Cy Snoodles' band?
No, the one
is
is
it,
they're playing Jabba Boogie or whatever it is in Maz Kanata's castle.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
So we get deep. We get deep. You'd be great in that, and we'd love to have you back.
Yeah, I would love to. So, Matt, anything we want to say here at the end here?
No, a proper shout out to Jose De La Torre. He was the only one that I had screwed up typing when we did our shout outs.
Nice.
So I told him, I was like, you know what? The next show we record, I promise you that I will get that right.
That's right.
He was the only one. He's like, my girlfriend really appreciated the fact that my name of the 80-something, 90-something that you shouted out was the only one you screwed up. And I was like, dude, you have no idea how bad I felt about that because I got all the others right and yours is the only one I fucked up. So I apologize, Jose. It is Jose. Because you were like, maybe it's Rose or Rose. And I was like, I don't know. And that's not fair because the man has supported us and is the least we could do.
That's very sweet of him.
And for those listening, the voting on Thunderdome will be ending today at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So wherever you are in the world, you're going to have to convert. So good luck to you because I don't know where that is in Bahrain. But it's sometime in your time is the cutoff today. So anyway, Tuesday, 5 p.m., and that'll be up later this weekend. We got a bunch of stuff before to the end of the year that comes out. And if you want to follow me, it's at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST.
Right, and if you want to join our Facebook page or group page, go to facebook.com and go find the top 10
/groups / the top 10 show with the number 10.
There you go. And if you want to donate to our Patreon, by the way, thank you so much for everyone who has donated to our Patreon. It's been an amazing outpouring of love and support from you guys. Thank you so much. Patreon.com / the top 10. And no amount is too small. We have $1 tiers up to $50 tiers. Whatever you want to donate, and you get great prizes. You know that we just did our first one with Pixar and
our
Rosa
first
Parra.
Patreon one.
Yeah, Rosa Parra was on the Boss Hog level. She got to choose our topic, which was part of the $50 deal. So it's all kinds of stuff that's available to you. And Matt's been great about keeping the upkeep on Patreon, like taking pictures, doing the kind of things, making it very fun and interactive with the fans. And the feedback we're getting is very positive. So thank you, everyone, so much. And any ideas you got for us, like Matt said, tweet at him at Matt Nost. Tweet at me at The Rocha Says, ROCHA, on Twitter or Instagram. Let me know if you guys have thoughts you want to get from us, and we'll see what works for us and if it works for what we're doing. So,
and finally, just one last thank you to Chris Alexakos for everything he does with us on Facebook, and Kristen Smith.
And Kristen Smith,
and
absolutely.
Jen Kemp for helping us with Thunderdome, some of the graphics over there. So our thanks to the three of you and everybody else that's helping as well. And that's
Is it Kemp? I thought it was Kempi. Kempi?
It's Kemp. We've done this, I think, 3-4 times
All
now.
right,
It is Kemp.
Fine, Kemp.
Yeah.
I'll give you a name, Kemp. But there it is. So thanks, everyone, for listening this week. Once again, big thanks to Ken Napzok.
Thank you.
Top 10 Star Wars secondary characters. This has been the Top 10 Show. We will talk to you all next time.
Bye-bye.